My name is Rico, and this is brought to you by Career Development. Today we'll be talking about personal statements. What are personal statements? Well, they're statements of purpose. They can be generic essays, which can go ahead and allow you to introduce yourself for a graduate program. In these cases, it helps reveal behind the application and your transcripts who you are as an individual to the graduate program. Another reason why you'll be doing a personal statement is to help give more insight as to who you are and why you're interested in said particular program. It also allows you to explain any mishaps or any kind of blemishes you may have on your record. So what is the committee looking for in the personal statement? Well, they're looking to learn more about you as the individual, who you are and why you're interested in this particular field. They're more interested also in knowing, have you done your homework about the institution? Are there specific areas of research that the university is currently working in that may be of interest to you? Are there particular faculty doing certain projects that you may be interested and involved in? Also, they want to see how well you can articulate your story and how you can present yourself on paper. So there's about two different types of personal statement. The first being very vague. This allows you to have as much freedom as you want when you write and to go ahead and go with your creative flow and describe yourself in a way that's unique to you. The second type is more structured. In this case, you have less freedom. However, this does not mean that you should not be as creative as you would like. An example of this, "The unexamined life is not worth living" by Plato. In lieu of this quotation, please describe an event and how you handled the situation, and looking back, would you have made a different decision? In this case, being sure to answer that question as creative as possible is what the committee is looking for. So getting started. So no matter what the question is asked of you, be sure to answer it specifically. Be sure that you understand what they're asking of you. Also, be sure to make the personal statement about you. At the end of the day, the committee wants to know who you are as an individual and what you're going to bring to the university. Steps for writing a personal statement. First, start by organizing your ideas. Start jotting down whatever comes to your mind. When writing down, be sure to jot down at least 3 to 4 paragraphs of different ideas that you've come up with. Once you've gone ahead and brainstormed, start narrowing it down. Start focusing on key aspects that you think are important that the committee should know about you. Once again, focusing around that central theme idea. In this case, filter through all the ideas, making sure to identify how they relate to one another. Organize by priority and chronologically, making sure that everything goes in a sequential order. Once again, that past, present, and future. And make sure you're formulating your ideas in such a way that they relate to one another, once again, within that 3 to 4 paragraphs. First, tell us about you. Don't try to be the ideal candidate. They want to hear about who you are as an individual and what your experience was like. Making sure that your essay is legible and that it follows a consistent pattern. With your essay, being sure that it's structured in such a way that you have your introduction, your supporting paragraphs, and your conclusion. Your paragraph should be structured in such a way that it includes an introduction about the topic you're going to be speaking about, 2 to 3 supporting sentences, and a conclusion with a transition. Some examples of transitions include "in light of," "nevertheless," "in lieu of this information," and "based on these experiences." Things such as that are a great way to transition to your next paragraph. So, steps for statement overview. The first one you want to start off with is brainstorming. This is where you're going to gather your ideas once again and put them all together and see if there's any themes that emerge out of this. Then we're going to go to the outline portion. This is where you're going to start picking out some of these examples that you want to highlight that put you in a very positive light. From there, you'll transition to your first draft. In this case, now we're really going into the nitty-gritty of it, writing down your paragraphs, working on a little bit on the structure and the theme that it has emerged. Then we'll go on to the revision process. The revision process will work on your transition as well as the specificity that you're looking to convey to the reader. So some additional tips for writing your personal statement. First, give yourself plenty of time to write your statement. You don't want to go ahead and be rushing. You want to make sure you give enough time to go through the revision process. Give it a theme if possible. Make sure that all your ideas connect in some way so that it makes logical sense to the reader. Use examples, if you can, of real-life experience. You want to connect with the reader on some level and also explain about who you are as an individual. Begin in the beginning with someone reading your essay for you prior to submitting it. This will allow you to get feedback on what they feel the theme was and how it presented itself. If you can, read it out loud to yourself. It's really different than reading it in your mind. So if you have the ability to say it out loud, you may catch some mistakes, or you may see where you can add or take away some additional information. And lastly, proofread. We want to make sure it's grammatically correct. You don't want to be submitting something that a committee may be seeing and not show itself in the best light. So some catchy intros that you may want to start your statement with. Several years ago, I was accepted into an MBA program in my native New Zealand. However, I decided to postpone my graduate education to a later date. My interest in computer and technology started when I was given a computer as a present at the age of 10. Because there was nobody else to teach me how to use it, I had to teach myself, experimenting with different options. At first glance, the most remarkable thing about me might seem the fact that I have the tenacity to apply to law school in the first place. I have a blemished academic record that includes withdrawals and failing grades, and by the time I had received my degree in May, I will have spent 6 years as an undergraduate. Looking beyond these statistics, however, to the circumstances in my life, it becomes clear that what is most remarkable is the fact that I have survived it all. Some general phrases to avoid are generic statements. Things such as, I've always been interested in this field because, or I'd like to thank the committee for reviewing my application, or I've always had a dream and allow me to introduce myself. These kind of phrases are too generic, too broad. They don't grasp the reader's attention, and at the end of the day, you want them wanting more. So be sure to start off with a catchy phrase to put yourself in the best light. Some common pitfalls: reiterating information that's already on your resume or already on your application. The committee already has this information. This is a time for you to give them something they have not seen or have not known about you just by reviewing your application. Focusing too much on negative or bad experiences. While you can touch upon these experiences, be sure to focus more on what you've learned from the trial or from the barrier and how it's going to help you become a better professional rather than just on the experience itself. Too much rambling, going on about things that aren't coherent or don't make sense with one another. Spending too much time on the past. You want to make sure if you're focusing on the past, you do an equal opportunity to both the present and the future as much as possible. Focusing on tragic events or trying to be overly humorous in your essay can go about the wrong way. Also, focusing on unconventional topics that may not be a proper way to go around. Depending on who's reading your essay, it may not translate well. Also, making sure that the information that you're putting in is not from out of left field. You're not throwing something in there that does not relate to the theme you're trying to convey. And also, forgetting to use transition words and just jumping from one paragraph to the next can be really bad. Making sure you also don't use any generic statements such as, in this profession, responsibility is a key aspect. These kind of generic statements without any background information do not assist you. In the end, the personal statement is about you connecting to the university and what you're going to go ahead and share with them. This is your time to kind of flirt with the university, but don't go crazy now.